Hey guys, this is Dmitry with Canucks and welcome back to another review. Cooler Master recently released the HAF stacker, the latest addition to the high airflow series. The concept is very simple and surprisingly functional for many purposes, but it's the execution and design process that could potentially render it useless. So let's check out this Cooler Master HAF Stacker 935, which incorporates the mid-tower 925 for the main chassis and an attachable smaller chassis, the 915R, that carries a few tricks up its sleeve as well. This combo will set you back $170, which is very comparable to pricing of full towers. The actual process of stacking is very simple. Cooler Master has designed a rail system that works really well. You basically align the bottom rails of one chassis with the top of the other, and there you have it. A couple of screws on each side will secure the stack, and the whole assembly seems pretty solid. The main tower portion comes with removable case feet that allows easy swap between chassis. The smaller portion here comes with the top cover that must be removed if you want to stack anything on top, and it also features a built-in dust filter that is always appreciated. Now you can either go with the default configuration with the smaller chassis on top, or swap the set for a different configuration. The bottom of the mid-tower features a removable dust filter plus two large rubber grommets, which would be useful for this type of setup, while the smaller portion has a few cutouts as well and a large opening with a rubber grommet, again would be useful to pass cables or water cooling tubes between chambers. Now this is very much a Cooler Master chassis with rigid corners, and even the window sticks out, which I think looks really good, especially because it is tinted. At the front we have 3+1 optical drive base plus all the connections including power button, audio jacks, and 4 USB ports, 2 of which are USB 3. Now notice the 915R doesn't have any connectors at the front. That's because it's not really intended to be used on its own, but in conjunction with another stacker. Taking a look at the back, we have a bottom mounted power supply, 8+1 PCI expansion slots, and an exhaust fan. And the smaller 915R stacker at the top includes a mini ITX slot with 2 PCI Express slots and a top mounted power supply. And taking off all the side panels, starting from the top, we have a single optical slot, a drive cage for 3 drives, toolless mounting for 3 additional optical drives, and another drive cage that is fully modular so you can remove both and install in the top chamber for better front intake or water cooling capabilities. Now what I really like on all of the new Cooler Master cases are the drive caddies. They are sturdy and feature this widening mechanism for installation of mechanical drives. This way you don't need to bend anything for assembly, and it's also SSD ready. The front panel is easily removable and features a built-in dust filter, behind which we can install dual 120mm fans or a single 140mm. On the inside, the drive cage platform is removable to make room for a radiator, but I was disappointed to not see any optional mounts for the platform, which does limit your setup. Also, another thing I noticed was a rather small ventilation cutout for the power supply, but it is dust proof, so that leaves me happy. The front panel on the 915R is also removable with a built-in dust filter and features a very tiny 80mm intake fan that is very much blocked by the cage behind the frame, so don't be expecting much air delivery there. And checking out at the back, a very common feature these days is an extra SSD mount behind the motherboard tray. Very good utilization of the space, plus large rubber grommets for all the cables, and quite limiting space with not even an inch for all of your cable work. Now it's the top portion of the stacker that's the most interesting, so let's see exactly what we can do with it. And we get a large grommeted opening leading into the next chassis that will be useful for water cooling tubing, but maybe also cables, as the optional power supply mount installs right above. The power supply is only held by 4 screws at the back, so it's not the most stable mount, which may be concerning, but installing the second drive cage in there and we have plenty of room for cables, so that's not really an issue. We also get a rear I/O cover if you decide to not install a second system in there, and this is one of the options you can actually go with that basically allows you to install a mini ITX system above your main system. Obviously this is not ideal because of the limited GPU space availability due to that drive cage, which if removed allows long GPU compatibility. But also CPU coolers will be limited to extremely low profile due to the power supply, and while installing a system at the top is an option, it is still not recommended because, well, first, you don't have a dedicated power switch for the system on top, and the 915R is really intended to be used either for extra storage or for water cooling. And this is where the side panels really come in play, as they can house triple 120 or dual 140mm fans with a removable dust filter, meaning you can install two 360mm rads for your build, and tubing would be passed down through this cutout into the bottom chamber. And because the width of the chassis is around 225mm, this means push and pull on both side panels shouldn't be an issue. And looking at our setup here, if you decide to go with a 240mm rad, you still have a drive cage that could be utilized. The only hiccup I could see is routing all the SATA cables from the bottom of the build. That might become a little challenging, but we do have a few cutouts for that exact purpose, so you'll still be able to wire everything just fine. And finally, starting with the build, putting in our motherboard and getting down with cable management, it really is a piece of cake. The top chamber leaves much to be desired for water cooling enthusiasts who want to go to the extreme path, and that's exactly what the stacker is designed to do. The internals clean up well, plus the rear, despite a relatively small distance to the panel, is pretty straightforward to work with. And I'm going to conclude by stating that the concept is certainly innovative, with the ability to stack one on top of the other has the benefits of user-specific configurations with a very simple stacking module. This means two very different uses, either for water cooling or extra drive storage or even a system. And I like that the chassis is expandable vertically, as cube cases are still quite awkward for placement. The overall build quality, despite all the plastics, is robust, and the tinted window is seriously awesome. However, while the top portion has its functions, it's not utilized for its full potential. For example, the mini ITX motherboard mount is quite useless since we don't have any dedicated power buttons, plus the power supply mount above will seriously limit your CPU cooler to something extremely low profile. The 80mm front intake fan is placed right against the drive cage wall that will limit airflow delivery, and given this is part of the HAF series, the entire airflow seems to be a little disappointing. But I am glad Cooler Master is heading into this direction with such user flexibility, and that is one thing that the Stacker 935 does really well, and we're giving it the Hard Rock Canucks Damn Innovative Award. Now, Cooler Master has also released a second version of the smallest chassis, the 915F. Head on over to that video to see what the differences are and how extreme you can take this stacker. Now, we'd like to hear your thoughts on the stacker concept, and do you think this will get picked up? I certainly hope we'll see something similar from the competition in the near future. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.